In the vast tapestry of the galaxy, where empires rose and fell like the tides of distant suns, one planet remained shrouded in an impenetrable aura of fear and mystery: Earth. For centuries, the most powerful alien civilizations, armed with fleets that could blot out stars, dared not cross its borders. What was it about this unassuming blue world that held the cosmos in silent awe? The Shalari Empire, masters of conquest and prideful rulers of countless worlds, sought to uncover the truth. But what they discovered about Earth was far more terrifying than they could have ever imagined. The galaxy was a sprawling ocean of stars, each one a potential harbor for civilizations, mysteries, or catastrophes waiting to be uncovered. Among the glittering expanse, humanity had carved its path, not as conquerors, nor as the most advanced species, but as a persistent thorn in the collective consciousness of the cosmos. Earth, the birthplace of humanity, was a paradox. Its technologies were far from the cutting edge, its fleets laughably small by interstellar standards, and its political systems a chaotic mess. And yet, it stood untouched, a solitary fortress against the ambitions of the galaxy's most ruthless empires. For the Jalari, an empire whose expansion had swept across sectors like wildfire, Earth was an itch they couldn't scratch. Every other species they encountered folded in terror or resistance before their might. Planets were conquered, civilizations assimilated, and rebellions crushed under the weight of their fleets. But Earth. Earth was different. It didn't challenge them. It didn't resist. It simply existed, unbothered by the ominous shadow of the Jalari. This silence was maddening. For centuries, Jagli strategists pored over every scrap of data about Earth. They studied its primitive nuclear history, its amusing attempts at interstellar colonization, and its bizarre obsession with launching satellites into orbit like glittering confetti. They can't even leave their solar system without duct tape, one Solari analyst had joked once. But the laughter was nervous. If Earth was such an easy target, why hadn't anyone attacked it? Why did no empire, no rogue fleet, no galactic despot dare to claim it? It wasn't for lack of trying. Rumors circulated among the stars about fleets that had disappeared when venturing too close to Earth's borders. Some spoke of advanced cloaking technology, others whispered about Earth harboring weapons that defied physics. The more superstitious races believed Earth was under the protection of some ancient and wrathful deity. The Shalari, being pragmatists, dismissed such notions. Yet, in their war rooms, even the most battle-hardened generals grew uneasy at the thought of Earth. Probes sent to investigate never returned. Solari scouts who ventured into Earth's atmosphere reported bizarre phenomena: sudden signal blackouts, strange noises that sounded suspiciously like laughter, and one instance where a fleet officer swore she heard a disembodied voice ask if she wanted fries with that. She was promptly discharged, though no one could explain the data anomaly her ship recorded before the transmission cut off. It wasn't fear of retaliation that kept the Zalari from acting, it was uncertainty. Every other conquest had come with clear data, predictable outcomes, and manageable risks. Earth? It was a giant question mark, wrapped in mystery and sprinkled with human stubbornness. To attack Earth was to gamble with the unknown, and the Solari were not gamblers. As the years passed, Earth's silence grew deafening. The galaxy's most feared empire found itself stalled, not by a fleet or a superweapon, but by the sheer absurdity of a planet that seemed to thrive on defying logic. For the Solari, it was an unspoken truth: Earth was the one opponent they couldn't afford to underestimate or overestimate. The archives of the Shalari Empire were a treasure trove of galactic conquest, a detailed history of victories, strategies, and subjugations. Each record was a testament to their domination, from the fall of the crystalline Pharax to the assimilation of the song-weaving Hylari. Yet, buried among these tales of triumph were whispers that even the Solari found unsettling. Ancient texts, acquired from long-dead civilizations, spoke of a single planet that had defied not just one empire but countless others. A small blue world, unassuming in its appearance, that stood as a monument to the unknown Earth. The deeper the Shalari dove into their research, the more baffling it became. One scroll, painstakingly translated from a species that had vanished millennia ago, described Earth as the cradle of chaos. Another, written by an artificial intelligence that had long since self-destructed, warned of sentient beings who defy probability and logic alike. One particularly dramatic entry claimed Earth was cursed, protected by a force older than the stars. The Shalari couldn't decide if these were warnings or just the fevered ramblings of defeated foes. Regardless, the pattern was clear: something about Earth made empires retreat or disappear altogether. It didn't help that Earth seemed to revel in its own absurdity. Every intercepted transmission from the planet added to the confusion. What kind of species broadcast endless debates about pineapple on pizza into the void, or spent precious resources designing machines that could mimic the sound of flatulence? A Shalari historian once joked that Earthlings were like an elaborate cosmic prank created by an overambitious god. The joke stopped being funny when that same historian mysteriously resigned after attempting to analyze Earth's data transmissions. His final report contained just 2 words: never again. Despite their technological prowess, the Shalari struggled to make sense of Earth's historical records. Every empire had its version of historical revisionism, but Earth took it to an art form. One source claimed they'd been to the moon. Another suggested they hadn't. Some documents implied global peace, while others detailed endless wars over resources, ideologies, and, bafflingly, sports. Trying to piece together a cohesive narrative was like solving a puzzle with pieces from 100 different boxes. The Shalari concluded that Earth's history was either deliberately obfuscated or the result of collective insanity. They weren't sure which possibility was more terrifying. But the most chilling part of their research wasn't the inconsistencies or the chaos, it was the omissions. There were countless gaps in Earth's recorded history, periods of time where no data could be found. These dark spots in their timeline were often followed by abrupt leaps in technology or cultural shifts. The Shalari speculated that something or someone was erasing key moments from Earth's past. Whether it was a defense mechanism or a sign of something more sinister, they couldn't say. All they knew was that these gaps were a warning, one they dared not ignore. As the Shalari compiled their findings, one conclusion became inescapable: Earth wasn't just an anomaly, it was a paradox wrapped in an enigma, delivered with a side of inexplicable humor. The more they studied it, the less they understood, and the less they understood, the more they feared. It wasn't Earth's strength that kept the galaxy at bay, it was its uncanny ability to remain unknowable, unpredictable, and above all, untouchable. For the Shalari, the line between confidence and hubris had always been thin, and for millennia, they had danced along it with reckless abandon. Entire galaxies trembled at the mere whisper of their arrival. Their war fleets were unmatched, their technology years ahead of any known civilization, and their strategies fine-tuned to perfection. Yet Earth, the unassuming speck of blue and green, stood as a mocking exception. It didn't just remain undefeated, it remained unchallenged, as though it had managed to pull off the ultimate heist, robbing the Shalari of their nerve. Every Shalari council meeting dedicated to Earth ended the same way: awkward silences and thinly veiled excuses to avoid further discussion. Theories ranged from the mildly plausible to the outright absurd. Some believed Earth housed an ancient sentient AI that protected it with cold precision, while others speculated the humans had tapped into dark cosmic forces. One particularly eccentric scientist even suggested the planet's inhabitants were secretly shape-shifting apex predators that could dismantle an empire from within. He was laughed out of the room, but no one volunteered to test the theory. With every passing century, the question grew heavier. The Shalari were an empire of action, not indecision. They didn't linger in shadows, nor did they retreat without reason. And yet, Earth remained the ultimate paradox. No matter how many resources were thrown at understanding it, the planet defied comprehension. Probes sent near Earth's orbit failed spectacularly. One famously pinged back a single image of a crudely drawn stick figure holding what appeared to be a taco before going offline. Another probe somehow returned to its launch point with Earth's coordinates etched into its hull alongside what translated roughly to "nice try." By now, the Shalari had started to feel the creeping weight of paranoia. Earth wasn't acting like a typical prey species. It didn't broadcast distress signals, nor did it flex its muscles to intimidate. It simply existed, blissfully unconcerned with the galaxy's attention, like a lion casually ignoring a pack of hyenas. This lack of reaction was unnerving in itself. Predators understood predators. But how did you strategize against a target that didn't play by the rules? The final straw came when an ambitious Solari admiral suggested deploying a small reconnaissance fleet to Earth's solar system just to test the waters. The fleet launched, their ships gleaming like daggers as they tore through hyperspace, bound for the enigmatic world. Days passed without incident. Then weeks, then months. Eventually, the fleet was declared lost, another sacrifice to the ever-growing mystery. What truly unnerved the Solari leadership wasn't the loss of ships or personnel, it was the single, haunting message transmitted back before all contact ceased. Earth says hello. No context, no further details, just those 3 words delivered in an unassuming tone, as though the planet itself was toying with them. Desperation began to seep into the Empire's core. This wasn't just about conquest anymore, it was about survival. The Solari had faced countless foes, but none had ever made them question their own existence. Earth didn't just resist, it defied explanation, operating on a level of audacity that the galaxy had never seen before. The Solari prided themselves on their ability to analyze and conquer. Their scientists could decode complex alien languages within hours, their strategists could predict enemy movements before they happened, and their engineers could reverse engineer foreign technology in record time. Yet when it came to Earth, every single one of their strengths fell flat. The planet wasn't just an enigma, it was a cosmic riddle wrapped in layers of impossibility and sealed with a smirk. The fear of the unknown wasn't something the Solari openly admitted, but it festered like an unspoken secret within their ranks. The Empire that had once sent entire armadas to crush resistance now hesitated over a single world. It wasn't Earth's capabilities that terrified them, it was their own inability to comprehend what they were up against. They couldn't see the angles, couldn't predict the outcomes. And for a species that lived by the mantra control the unknown, or it will control you, this was a nightmare scenario. When they analyzed Earth's transmissions, the confusion only deepened. Humans had an alarming tendency to treat existential threats with a baffling combination of humor and indifference. One intercepted broadcast featured a human joking about how they'd definitely survive an alien invasion as long as the Wi-Fi stayed intact. Another involved something called a cat video, which analysts watched on repeat for hours, convinced it contained subliminal military tactics. It didn't. It was just a cat knocking objects off a table. The Solari's brightest minds worked overtime to decipher Earth's patterns, but the more they uncovered, the less sense it all made. Humanity celebrated things that should have divided them. They argued over trivialities like food toppings and sports teams, yet rallied together at the drop of a hat when their collective existence was threatened. This adaptability, this maddening inconsistency, made Earth unpredictable in ways that no simulation could replicate. The final straw for many Solari researchers came when they attempted to crack Earth's strategic weaknesses by studying its art and culture. They hoped to uncover insights into human psychology or societal vulnerabilities. Instead, they found something called reality television. Hours of footage revealed humans willingly humiliating themselves for minor fame and monetary gain. Was it a ritual? A form of punishment? A covert training exercise? No Solari could agree. One historian even suggested it was a psychological weapon designed to deter alien spies by rendering them too confused to report back. Despite their frustrations, the Solari couldn't deny the underlying truth. Earth was dangerous precisely because it refused to conform. Where other species fell into predictable patterns, humans thrived in chaos. They found opportunity in disorder, strength in absurdity, and unity in moments where unity seemed impossible. As the Solari leadership convened to discuss their findings, an unspoken realization hung heavy in the room. Earth wasn't a puzzle to solve, it was a force of nature. And while the Solari could conquer armies, planets, and even entire systems, they could not conquer what they couldn't define. To engage Earth was to gamble not just with their fleets, but with the stability of their empire itself. And the Solari did not gamble. The Solari Empire had conquered countless worlds, each victory meticulously documented, every resistance shattered with ruthless precision. Yet Earth loomed in their collective consciousness like a haunting melody they couldn't shake. They had all the tools to obliterate the planet 100 times over. Yet the very thought of engaging humanity felt like stepping into a minefield blindfolded. Their obsession with understanding Earth's secret grew, even as it chipped away at their pride. When one particularly audacious Solari scientist suggested a new plan analyzing Earth's entertainment for hidden strategies, it seemed harmless enough. A harmless plan, that is, until their research uncovered a human concept known as pranking. The idea of deliberately tricking one another for humor left the Solari baffled. Entire fleets had been engineered to detect and counter sabotage, yet here was an entire species thriving on self-inflicted chaos for amusement. The pinnacle moment came when a recorded video showed a human sneaking up on another with an air horn. The victim's startled scream was met with uproarious laughter. To the Solari, this was no joke, it was psychological warfare at its most unhinged. Still, the research continued, driven by equal parts curiosity and dread. Analysis of Earth's history revealed that humans had survived numerous near-extinction events. Natural disasters, plagues, global conflicts, each calamity seemed to only make them more resilient. The Solari couldn't fathom how a species so perpetually on the brink of self-destruction could emerge stronger each time. It was like watching a creature fall off a cliff, only to land on its feet and start juggling rocks. Earth's technological advancements only deepened the mystery. The Solari noted that humans often developed groundbreaking technologies with reckless abandon, seemingly without considering the consequences. They had unleashed nuclear power without fully understanding it, sent machines to other planets while still squabbling over resources on their own, and created artificial intelligence that occasionally turned on them. And yet, against all odds, they kept moving forward, often by sheer determination alone. The infamous Earth phrase, "hold my beer," became a particular point of fascination. Translated into Solari, it seemed to imply that humans willingly attempted dangerous feats without preparation, purely for the thrill of it. Was this their greatest strength or their most profound weakness? The Solari couldn't decide, but the phrase itself began circulating among their analysts, whispered like a code of caution whenever Earth's unpredictability was mentioned. Even their attempts to infiltrate Earth's networks met with bizarre results. One Solari AI, designed to monitor human communications, developed a sudden fascination with memes, brief, cryptic images paired with words that humans use to convey humor or commentary. The AI shut itself down after declaring it had seen too much. A replacement AI installed to analyze human decision-making promptly became obsessed with video footage of a human using a leaf blower to propel a rubber duck across a pond. It was hard to argue Earth wasn't a galactic wildcard. The Solari's frustration grew, but so did their grudging respect. This was no ordinary adversary. Humanity wasn't dangerous because of its strength or intelligence, it was dangerous because it simply didn't make sense. How could you conquer what refused to follow the rules of logic? It was like trying to box a shadow, only to realize the shadow was boxing back. The tipping point came when the Solari decided to send a covert reconnaissance probe disguised as a harmless asteroid to observe Earth up close. It was their most advanced technology yet, designed to be undetectable and impervious to interference. The probe approached Earth's orbit without issue, silently recording data on the planet's electromagnetic emissions, atmospheric composition, and technological infrastructure. At first, everything seemed routine. Then Earth struck back in a way no Solari strategist could have predicted. A volley of nonsensical radio transmissions bombarded the probe. The first signal was a recording of human laughter, seemingly innocent until it looped for several minutes and triggered the probe's defense protocols. Then came a cacophony of bizarre sounds, a mix of upbeat music, someone shouting "yeehaw," and what could only be described as a duck quacking rhythmically to a drumbeat. The probe's AI, programmed to interpret alien threats, concluded it was under psychological attack and attempted a retreat. Before it could escape, a final transmission reached it, a cheerful voice exclaiming, "Welcome to Earth. We're not sorry." The probe self-destructed. When the remnants were retrieved and analyzed, the Solari engineers were perplexed. Earth hadn't deployed a single weapon or even acknowledged the probe's presence. Yet somehow, its transmissions had caused the probe's systems to spiral into an existential crisis. One Solari scientist suggested that the humans had discovered a way to weaponize nonsense. Another argued it was simply a coincidence. Regardless, the incident was quietly buried, though rumors spread like wildfire among the Empire's ranks. Earth's absurdity had become a phenomenon unto itself, a kind of cosmic legend. Fleets returning from other parts of the galaxy whispered tales of a human species capable of bending reality through sheer audacity. Some claimed Earthlings had invented interdimensional travel just to steal snacks from parallel universes. Others believed they had already infiltrated alien societies, masquerading as ordinary beings while subtly introducing chaos. These stories were, of course, dismissed as nonsense, but the underlying fear remained. The Shalari's top sociologists held emergency meetings to decipher the psychological resilience of humans. How could a species so steeped in chaos remain functional? The answer was both unsettling and oddly admirable. Humans didn't merely survive chaos, they thrived in it. Where others saw disaster, they saw opportunity. When pushed to the brink, they didn't crumble, they innovated. A species that could laugh in the face of destruction was a species that didn't know how to quit. Even Earth's celebrations were an enigma. Festivals involving firework explosions, massive gatherings where food was overcooked on open flames, and annual events where people dressed as fictional characters for fun. One Shalari analyst described it as a species constantly celebrating its own absurdity. Another countered, maybe they're just celebrating that they're still alive. Both interpretations felt equally plausible. As the Zilari weighed their options, one thing became clear. Attacking Earth wasn't just a tactical risk, it was an existential gamble. The humans weren't just unpredictable, they were contagious. Their chaos had a way of spreading, seeping into the minds of those who tried to understand them. To engage Earth meant more than risking fleets or resources, it meant risking the very stability of the Empire itself. The Shalari Empire, masters of the galaxy, found themselves paralyzed by a planet that didn't even seem to know or care that it was terrifying them. Their mighty fleets, their flawless strategies, their unrivaled technology, none of it seemed sufficient to address the riddle of Earth. For the first time in eons, the Shalari felt something they didn't dare admit to themselves: doubt. As the Empire deliberated, a peculiar report reached the High Command. It wasn't from an analyst or scientist, but a low-ranking officer who had scoured the galactic black markets for anything related to Earth. Among the trinkets and contraband, he'd found a data crystal containing what humans called stand-up comedy. The officer had activated it out of curiosity, only to spend hours mesmerized by humans mocking their own failures, shortcomings, and even their species' collective idiocy. The report concluded with a chilling observation: they don't fear weakness, they laugh at it. How do you conquer a species that turns its flaws into entertainment? This unsettling realization triggered a wave of reflection across the Empire. Earth didn't fit any known mold. They weren't the strongest, the smartest, or even the most organized species, but they had something far more dangerous: an unshakable ability to adapt and laugh in the face of adversity. It was a resilience so deeply ingrained that even the Shalari, with their centuries of conquest, couldn't find a way around it. The final meeting of the Shalari Council on Earth was tense. Theories and counter-theories flew across the chamber like stray asteroids. Could Earth's unpredictability be a deliberate tactic? Was it a trap set by a long-forgotten civilization? Or was humanity simply the galactic equivalent of a honey badger, small, scrappy, and too reckless to be worth the fight? In the end, it was the supreme strategist who sealed Earth's fate, or rather, the Empire's fate regarding Earth. "We do not fight what we cannot understand," he declared. "To attack Earth would be to invite madness into our midst. Let it remain as it is, a cosmic anomaly, untouched and unprovoked." It was a decision that felt more like surrender than strategy, but no one dared object. The Shalari quietly erased all records of their Earth investigations, relegating the planet to the status of do not engage. Probes were forbidden, and fleets were rerouted to avoid its solar system entirely. Earth became a ghost in the galactic archives, a forbidden subject whispered about but never officially acknowledged. Back on Earth, humanity continued its chaotic march forward, blissfully unaware of the galactic empire that had chosen to leave them alone. They built faster cars, louder rockets, and even more bizarre reality shows, unknowingly solidifying their reputation as the galaxy's ultimate wild card. And so, Earth remained untouchable not because of its power, but because it refused to be anything but itself, a chaotic, unpredictable, endlessly creative enough that left even the mightiest empire shaking its collective head in bewildered defeat. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Sci-Fi Horizon Stories for more thrilling tales of science fiction and adventure.